You know, sim racing hardware is often not very attention grabbing and takes a little time to form an attachment. With SimLab's XP1 pedals, the problem's going to be the other way round. They look so good that it's pretty much going to be love at first sight, and I really hope they have the substance to back it up. They look incredibly smart, fusing styles between real race car pedals and high-end mountain bikes. The free pedal set, as seen here, costs under £500 in UK money. That's really strong value if you take these at face value. If I didn't know how much they cost, I'd have guessed much higher than that. Time to put them on and get testing. Before getting into it, as per usual with hardware reviews, the XP1 pedal set has been provided by SimLab free of charge for review. However, this is a review, not an ad. All good and bad points of note will be brought to you, all words are my own. Watch the whole video through before making a decision, but if you do proceed to buy, you'll find affiliate links in the description which, if used by you, helps support me, and thank you for doing so. It's always much appreciated, as I couldn't do this if not for people doing that. The boxes show you exactly what's inside, which is definitely the right move here. As I extract them from the packaging, a couple of things definitely jump out at me. For one, they are considerably larger and chunkier than I would have expected, and two, they are finished beautifully. The standard is really high. These are cheaper than the Simagic P1000 pedals, but feel a clear grade above in terms of quality to behold. These are a better finished product with a more reassuring and well-designed aura about them. There are details that stretch and defy the price tag, such as the SimLab branding on the chin of each pedal face, the extra anodization of certain fixtures and bolts, the etching of the brand on the side of the pedal bodies. Like I said in the intro, the XP1s do make an excellent first impression. That buzzy feeling that you hope for when you invest in some new sim racing kit is definitely delivered on here, and they feel great value for money at this early stage. I can't wait to start using them and see how they look on the rig. Each pedal can be adjusted in numerous ways, and you are given alternative throttle, brake and clutch inserts, springs and elastomers to expand the range of possibility, and it's very simple to carry them out. The ability to swing the entire pedal body in an arc is going to be very useful to many. This will help the XP1 cover a broad range of cockpit styles with different pedal tray configurations. That's something that matters if you have an entry-level or mid-range cockpit which might not have tons of pedal tray angle adjustment. I like a brake pedal that's firm and direct, but a throttle with long travel and a light initial resistance. So once mounted, I'll be zeroing in on that. Each of the individual pedals are separately mounted, but one thing to be aware of is that they're fairly wide, wider than some others. Just as an example, I can fit all three VRS pedals on this DDX pedal plate, but I can only fit two of the SimLab XP ones because they're much wider. It doesn't mean you're stuffed, it just means that if your cockpit has a pre-drilled base plate that looks like this, you may need an additional base plate or additional holes drilled to make it work if you want all three pedals on a tray like this. But I imagine most of you will be mounting it the same way I am, directly to a profile-based pedal tray. As is usually the case, the brake pedal by standard is far too squishy for me, and the throttle needs some tweaks to extend the travel. The clutch too needs to be stiffer. Adjustments were very simple to do. The clevis pin can be freed by hand, and it's very quick and simple to slot in the alternative rubber elastomers and springs. I switched the brake elastomer to the stiffest 70 rated rubber, as well as swapping the preload spring to the stiffest one and adding one preload spacer to reduce the preload travel to almost nothing. It now feels spot on for me, and it took a mere 2 minutes to do. And knowing how vastly different the two states are, everyone should be able to find the combo that suits them best. As for the throttle, I extended the travel of the pedal by adjusting the blue screws on the front, and I adjusted the spring preload until it felt like it had a very linear feel throughout the travel. Very quick and simple to do, and the effects are easy to verify. Overall, it's really easy to get the physical adjustments sorted, even whilst on the rig, and the spread of possibilities seems very large. I'm pretty sure that anyone can get things to feel how they want it to feel without much trouble. And so it comes to driving, and the brake pedal feels spot on for me now that I've made the adjustments, but the throttle has an unusual response curve to it, which means that it spikes quickly in the early throttle phase and then does the same towards the end of a travel, and this was making my light throttle applications too sensitive. It was causing wheel spin in those delicate corner exit moments because it was overreacting to the initial stage. This is where I did some tweaks in SimLab's software called Race Director. I have had to do corrections to throttle curves before to get things just right. The Acertec La Prima pedals, for example, were relatively similar. This seems to be another one of those scenarios, and now this is what my throttle curve looks like. This feels excellent to me now, but I'm taking this moment to highlight that I've had to make curve adjustments to make it right for me. So if you take to the track and you just can't seem to find your feet, you might need to do the same. However, when I pressed the clutch for the first time, nothing. No input detected, dead on arrival. I checked the cables, swapped the cables, changed USB ports, restarted the PC, reflashed the pedal firmware, still nothing. I connected the throttle to the clutch to check it wasn't the control box at fault, and that was fine. So all signs pointed to the clutch pedal not working. Good, a chance to see how SimLab's support flow flows. As per SimLab's advice on their website, I sent an email in to info@simlab.eu. I didn't alert my contact at SimLab of this issue, that's on purpose. I wanted to see how attentive SimLab's support department is, because maybe this will turn out to be the fly in the ointment. The site said that the current waiting time for response could be up to 72 hours, so we'll see. Quicker than expected, I received an email back 2.5 hours later after sending my own. From my description, the support agent said it's likely an issue with the pedal, and would I be comfortable fitting a replacement circuit board to it myself, which I was, and so I awaited the arrival of a new clutch pedal board. This was what the issue was, a simple but essential circuit board that carries the clutch sensor. It was simple to replace, and I was on my way. It's a shame the issue happened to begin with, but it gave me a chance to test SimLab's responsiveness, and they didn't disappoint. I think I could trust them to support their customers properly based on my own interaction, but your comments are obviously welcome here if you've had experiences with SimLab's support in the past too. The overall driving experience with the XP1s now is great. The throttle feels precise with a smooth action, the brake pedal feels nice and direct, very responsive. The clutch doesn't seem to have a strong mid-travel hump or ramp, so it doesn't have tons of character, but it serves the purpose perfectly fine. Coming from VRS pedals, these had perhaps the hardest act to follow, but they do a great job. They feel very smooth, solid and precise. They are firmly a mid-tier pedal set, and by that I mean the trained eye and the trained foot can tell they are not premium top-rung precision pedals, but they're not priced like that either. And on the other hand, they are not slapdash or inconsistent with no idea what high-end sim racers need. They are great to use, easy to customize, impressively built for the cost and superb to look at on your rig. They are fit for serious sim racing without being intimidating. This is the kind of pedal set you buy once you've been introduced to sim racing for a while, you know it's something you're really enjoying, and now you want to move on to a good load cell pedal set to really get into things properly and build up your pride and joy sim rig. You could happily remain on these for life, but if a day comes when you eventually move on to more highly specialised professional pedals costing double what the XP1s cost, it'd be out of choice and option. The XP1s happily cover that very broad middle ground between entry level and high end, and are a much more convincing and rewarding alternative to things like Fanatec's ClubSport V3 pedals, for example. These outclass them quite clearly. They're so photogenic and attractively built, they make such a good first impression by sight alone. It was always going to be about whether or not the back end nuts and bolts lived up to the promise. And although the XP1s are very good, they still do have their weaknesses. Failures do happen. What's important is the brand can respond to it quickly and properly, and SimLab did. I'd only mark them down for this if failures were happening at a high rate, and that's not something I alone can detect. Only the community can really help with that. The race director software does feel a bit rough around the edges in places, and the throttle sensor does require a curve adjustment in the software to make it feel what I consider normal. These are the only negatives I can detect at this stage, which leaves long-term durability on the table, and that's where you can help. I often only test things for weeks, not months, and this is one of those times. So if you've got a set of XP1s, tell us, are you happy with them and how have they held up for you? Let people know in the comments, I'd appreciate that so much. That's it for now. Thanks for watching and I hope you enjoyed this. Remember that if you do proceed to buy, you can find affiliate links of places to buy in the description below. Using them supports me and makes more videos like this possible, and thank you. Cheers again.